Hello everyone, and good morning to today's triple A revision revolution. And I'm saying double A because yesterday only I finished double A, so I'm still in that double A mode. But having said that, I love the subject audit and assurance and advanced audit and assurance. The only difference between the two subjects is in triple A, you have to just level up your game a little bit. Okay, so obviously, since you all have liked the double A subject, audit and assurance, that is why you all have chosen triple A. You just have to remember that your base concepts, or like the base on which the concepts are made, the audit risk responses, deficiencies, recommendations, test of controls, going concern procedures, substantive procedures, everything is going to remain the same. The base of your thing is not changing. It's like SBR is a continuation of FR. Okay, APM is a continuation of PM. Similarly, AAA is a continuation of AA. So obviously, if you all have selected this optional paper, that means you guys loved AA, and just like I love AA, and that is why you all have selected it. So we just have to concentrate on leveling up our game. And since you all are here at AAA, that means you guys have already cleared AA, which is very good. We just have to now concentrate on leveling up our game. Nothing else, just the concepts, revise and level up our game. Now, AAA is a very beautiful subject. It's very different. Audit is very different from all other subjects that are available in ACCA. The reason being, other subjects you have a lot of solving, little bit of theory. Audit is complete theory. Okay, but that doesn't make the subject boring. That makes the subject more interesting if you relate it with your real life examples. I always tell my students that you should always relate audit to your real life everyday examples. For example, if I am undertaking sampling, okay, so what sample should I select? The sample that I'm going to select should be a representative of the population. Okay, what does that mean? It should be very much a part and parcel of the population. And if it is not a part and parcel of the population, if it does not represent the population in a way, then there is sampling risk, where sampling risk is a risk where the result that you have derived from a sample is different if you had checked the entire population. So that is why the sample should be a representative of the population. For this, I give a very common, very basic example. If I am a discipline head at an institution, okay, and if I want to make sure that the girls in my school are not painting their nails, because that is against the disciplinaries in the school, so I will select a sample from each class, because I cannot check the nails of everybody every day, because that is going to waste a lot of time, and we have other duties in the school as well. So what I'll do is, from every classroom, I will select 5 people. Now that 5 people is going to serve my sample to decide. That sample is going to decide if the other students in the class are painting their nails or not. Now, sample selection differs from auditor to auditor. Auditor uses a lot of his skills, expertise and judgment to select the sample. Now, if I am an experienced disciplinary head, I will select the sample which has more of girls, because I know that the boys will not paint their nails. Like, unless otherwise there are exceptions, but usually it is something that girls do. So my sample will consist of girls. But if I'm not an experienced auditor, I do not know how to select a sample. Maybe I will select it roll number wise. Say roll number 1 to 5, and in that maybe 4 are boys. And then when I check their nails, 4 are boys, their nails are not painted. The 5th one is a girl, her nails are also not painted. I conclude that nobody from this particular class is painting their nails. But actually, if I would have checked all the students, I would have got at least 10 students with painted nails. That means I have a sampling risk here, wherein the sample is not a representative of the population, and the result derived from checking the sample is different had I checked the entire population. So that completely depends on my judgment, on my skills, on my expertise. If I'm very smart, I will select a sample to catch the doubt. If I want to make sure that nobody's painting the nails, I will purposely select people whom I know are interested in painting the nails. So that will give me a real idea if students in the class are painting their nails or no. So that is sampling risk, which I will avoid. Again, the concepts in AAA are going to remain exactly the same that you studied in AA. This is like a quick revision revolution, so obviously we cannot expect to do everything from scratch, but I promise you we are going to cover majority of the syllabus. Now how is that possible? We are going to do one topic which is like a common understood and a commonly asked topic. We are going to solve 4 section B sums, and if time permits, maybe 5. Section B sums are 25 markers. Okay, so section A is a 50 marker and section B are 225 markers. So we are going to solve the 25 markers. It will give you a complete idea of how the questions in the exam need to be solved, how you should write the solution. If you all are aware, there are professional marks in AAA. So how you should allocate that and how you should gain those professional marks. Okay, now one more thing that I would like to tell you is there are some changes in the AA syllabus. Now what are the changes? Since September 2022, AAA exams have 20 marks awarded for professional skills which are demonstrated throughout the exam. So usually what was the case was the paper was a 100 marker and maybe 5 marks or 6-7 marks here and there were awarded for professional marks. And previously we did not have the CB based paper. We had to literally write the paper. Okay. So when I was giving the exam, I literally wrote the paper, and our tutors told us that this professional marks are for your handwriting, for how neatly you present the answer, for how well you're relating the answer to the question, how well you're relating things to the syllabus and giving your view and all of that. And if you all are aware, in AAA, you are already considered to be an auditor. So they are already considering you to be an ACCA and an auditor. So you have to give your professional judgment on that. Okay, so our tutors told us the marks are for your cleanliness, for your relation to the topic, sayings, and for how clean your paper is maintained and all. But ever since they launched the CBE paper, there is no point of handwriting marks because everybody's handwriting is going to be the same because it's going to be typed. So then what is this professional marks for? So since September 2022, they have increased the professional marks and made it 20 marks. They have awarded 20 marks for professional skills. Isn't it a good news? So 20 marks for professional skills. So the paper remains only of 80 marks. And the best part is the time duration is the same. So you get 3 hours 15 minutes for 80 mark paper now. Previously, we had to answer the 100 mark paper in 3 hours 15 minutes. Now the professional marks are 20. That means your actual paper is for 80 marks and the duration remains the same. Isn't this a good news for AAA? Yes? Now about this professional marks. These professional marks are demonstrated throughout the exam. It's not like the professional marks remain only for section A, or the professional marks remain only for section B, or they remain for certain categories. It is demonstrated throughout the exam. Okay, it's spread throughout the exam. As I told you, the best part is the duration remains the same. Now next. Since the duration remains the same, the marks is from 100 to 80, so it allows you to more effectively manage your exam time to answer 80 marks and show mastery of your technical specialism. That means previously we were doing 100 marks in 3 hours 15 minutes. Now you have to do 80 marks for 3 hours 15 minutes. So that means now you can showcase your knowledge better. See, every ACCA paper is a 100-mark paper. You have to write it in 3 hours 15 minutes. You have to show the examiner whatever you have studied from the last 2.5 or 3 months. You have to produce it within 3 hours 15 minutes, and you have to prove to the examiner that this is what I have studied from the last 2.5 months or from the last 3 months, and you are going to literally be judged on the 3.5 hours. So give or make justice to the 3.5 hours. You have spent the last 2.5 months studying AAA like anything. Now it's time to utilize the 3.5 hours, 3 hours 15 minutes, to produce that 2.5 months of hard work that you have done, and prove the examiner that, see, this is what I have done from the last 2.5 months, and I'm producing in front of you in 3 hours 15 minutes, and you are literally going to be judged on that. The examiner is not going to judge you that you studied for 8 hours a day or you studied for 10 hours a day. He doesn't know how much you have studied. He is simply going to judge you on the paper that you write. He's simply going to judge you on the paper that you write. So make sure you write the paper smartly, because he doesn't know if you have had fun in the last 2.5 months. He doesn't know if you have watched a movie in the last 2.5 months, if you have sacrificed so many things, or if you have not sacrificed. He doesn't know anything. The only thing that he knows is your paper. He doesn't even know your name. He doesn't even know how many hours you have studied. He is simply going to judge you on whatever you write in the 3 hours. Simple. So make sure now it is time to smart study. Smart study as in, now the explanation part is done. Now the studying part is done. Now what you have to concentrate on is how to produce whatever you have studied in the paper smartly. Smartly produce whatever you know in the paper. Make the examiner feel that, yes, I have worked hard. I have worked hard for this, and I deserve to pass. Okay. You don't have to write the paper with what you think is right. You have to write the paper from the examiner's point of view, what he thinks is appropriate or what he thinks is right. So a lot of times students come to me and they tell me, ma'am, we couldn't clear it, but really we studied hard. We studied for 10 hours a day. We did this, we did that. I said, the examiner doesn't know that you studied for 10 hours a day. I believe that you studied for 10 hours a day, but you have to prove it to him. And how will you prove it to him? By producing whatever you have studied smartly in the examination, writing point to point, being very clear with your thoughts, being very precise about what you're writing. That is how he will understand that, okay, this person has studied, he knows the content. Okay. So talking about the professional marks which are spread throughout the paper, since you have 80 marks to answer now, because 20 are for professional, you can use your time effectively. Now if you guys might wonder that this 20 marks is for professional, so essay hi I'll get it, no problem, I will manage and all of that. No, listen to this first. The commonly asked question is how to earn professional marks. Now how will you earn the professional marks? It's not very difficult to earn the marks, but you need to know the ways to earn it, and most of the places where you're studying might have told you how to do that, but I will just repeat it. Okay. And we at Lakshya focus on the well-being of the students. It's not just like study and get it. Smart study, understand what they want, and then get it. So the only way of earning the professional marks is, point number 1 is communication. Appropriate headings and subheadings, and clear and concise language. If you want to earn the professional marks, whatever answers you're writing should have proper communication. Try to put your point forward in the most clear and concise way possible. Try to communicate the point with appropriate headings, subheadings, and clear and concise language. Proper, crisp, perfect. So the communication needs to be amazing. Your language, proper headings, proper subheadings, and clear and concise language. You do not get confused yourself and don't confuse the examiner. Clear, simple, neat, and nice. This is the first point how you can get your professional marks. The second, analysis and evaluation. What is analysis and evaluation? Relevant to organization and their situation. In the sums, if you have already solved, you have a situation created, like a real life situation. Like you are the audit manager of XYZ company and you have to do this and you have to do that, and the company provides you with this data. So that's like a real life situation that is being created. So what you have to do is you have to analyze and evaluate the situation relevant to the organization and their situation, and then write the answer. You have to relate yourself to the question completely and then answer the question. Okay, this is the second part of how you would earn the professional marks. Now the third one is through skepticism and judgment. Now how will you apply skepticism and judgment to the question? Demonstrate your professional judgment by prioritizing risk based on the situation. As I told you, use your professional judgment. When you're sampling also, if you want the sample to be a representative of the population, you have to select a sample in such a way that it is a representative of the population. And how will you select that? Based on your judgment. You are the disciplinary head for many years in a school. You know which students are capable of what. You know the boys will not normally paint their nails. You know that the girls are going to paint. From the girls, you kind of have an idea that which girls are likely to paint their nails. So select your sample and design your sample based on that. So use your skepticism and judgment wherever necessary in the question to smartly answer the question. Because as I told you, the examiner doesn't know for how long you have studied. The examiner is not aware that you have not slept for so many days, that you have been getting up early in the morning. He doesn't know that. You have to prove to him that you are working hard. He doesn't know that you are not sleeping at nights, you have anxiety, you're studying all day and night. He doesn't know that. You have to prove to him that you know everything, and you have to smartly produce it in the examination. Okay. And the last point how you will earn the professional marks is by commercial acumen. What is commercial acumen? Assess business risk affecting the client and the impact of the engagement on the audit. All the different business risks that are available, you have to assess those and the impact of the engagement on the audit firm. Any new engagement that you undertake in a company, the impact of that engagement on the audit firm. So these are the changes in the AA marking thing, which is like a change in the syllabus. Apart from that, the syllabus is not really changed. It's just that from September 2022, AAA exams have 20 marks awarded for professional skills which are demonstrated throughout the exam. Okay. So this is one important instruction that I wanted to give you guys. That is about the AA changes in the syllabus, which is discussed already. And always keep in mind this important point that I have discussed today, that the examiner is not aware of your hard works. You have to prove to him that you have worked hard, and the only way that you prove to him is by producing your answer in a smart way. Okay, so please do that. Please make sure that you're answering in a smart way. Okay. Now moving forward with an important part, because I have not introduced myself. So I thought of let's do the important things first, and introduction though it will go on as we proceed. So let me just introduce myself. So first I will introduce myself after I gave you all the importance of how to do things, because I thought that was more important than my own introduction. So let's start with that. My name is Sancia Gonsalves, and I have studied Master of Commerce in Specialization, Accountancy, and Taxation. Those were my subjects when I was doing Master of Commerce. And I'm an ACCA, so you can trust me on that. I have done from the optional papers, I had selected AAA. So I loved AA and how it needs to be solved, and it was very different from the other subjects I did. And when I started relating it to my real life examples, I really loved it. That is when I decided that let me take up AAA, which was more beautiful, I felt, and it was more relatable to real life. I don't know why people feel that AA and AAA are like out of the box, we don't want to do it, and etc. But trust me, that's a myth. If you study properly, study as in if you relate it to your real life examples, and if you really work hard on AA and AAA, that's the best subject you can ever have in ACCA. I have a teaching experience of 5 years, and I've been teaching subjects like AA, as I told you, it's my favorite. AAA. I also teach APM because I love APM. I teach AFM, FM, and SBR. So basically, I teach more of the professional papers. The reason being, we feel that in the professional papers, only AAA is the theory paper. But I would like to break this myth here also, that SBR, APM, AFM, all these professional papers have very less of practical aspect in them. The more is theory, because you have to explain your doings at every point. If you pick up any subject, like if you take SBR, there's so much theory in that. You have to understand all the accounting standards and all of that, explain those accounting standards. Although the solving part is very less of consolidations and all, remaining it's a lot of theory. So trust me, all the professional papers are a lot to do with theory. These are the subjects that I have specialized in, although other subjects are also taught by me, but these remain like my specialized category. Okay. So that's about me. I'll not waste a lot of time just telling a lot of things about me, but that's all about like who I am. About Lakshya. So can you imagine, this is an institution that has provided you with this rapid revision revolution for free. We have earned a great reputation as a key confidant and as a powerful institution, as well as a close advisor to the aspiring candidates in CA, ACCA, CMA US, CMA India, CS, CAT, CMA, and BVOC. You know what? After 10th, once you select commerce, just close your eyes and come to Lakshya. They have answer for all your needs. Because once you have taken commerce, there is no place better than Lakshya. So if you are in the commerce field, please come to Lakshya. It is your one-stop solution for all your needs. The reason being, if you are living in Kerala and if you have taken commerce after your 10th, you have classes, the Lakshya classes at various places. Like you have it in Kochi, you have it in like whatever places. You can go there and you can attend the live classes, okay, the live physical classes. If you're living in a place in Kerala wherein they don't have a branch, don't worry. We have two options for you. We have the online live classes so that you can enter from the comfort of your house. You can take the online live classes. You can interact with the tutor. You can ask questions. So it is just like the offline class. It's live, it's online. It's just like the offline class. We teach like this. So the students ask us questions, we answer their questions. And the students feel it's better because their time is not wasted going to the classes and all of that. If you're a student but your time zone is not matching with the classes and you want to really take classes, but maybe you're working part-time and you do not get time, don't worry. We have the recorded lectures. So you can purchase the recorded packs. You can select your subject like AA for example or AAA for example. Enroll for the recorded lectures. They will give you the entire recording. Watch it whenever you want. So maybe you're traveling by public transport. You're just wasting your time traveling from here to there, 1 hour, whatever. Just put your headphones on your mobile or on your iPad or whatever it is. Watch the lecture. So we have recorded lectures, we have live online classes, and we have live offline classes in Kerala, and we starting in the UAE also. UAE, we have already started the live classes which are online. So whatever your needs are solved by Lakshya. One more thing, Lakshya is not just focusing on the Kerala market, but they're doing it overall. So they have branches in Kerala, the offline live branches, but they're focusing on others also. Like they're having revisions in English and in Hindi. So any North crowd or any other crowd which want to have the lectures in Hindi can please come to Lakshya. Lakshya is a one-stop solution for all your needs. You want an offline live class? Come to us. You want an online live class? Come to us. You want an online recorded class to watch according to your time zone at the comfort of your house? Come to us. You want to do CA? Come to us. You want to do ACCA? Come to us. You want to do CMA? Come to us. You want to do CAT? Come to us. You want to do CMA? Come to us. You want to do CS? Come to us. So once you take commerce, just close your eyes and come to us. We will guide you what you should do. You just have to tell that, okay, this is what I'm going to do. This is going to be my schedule. So what do you suggest? So if your schedule is like you're a student living in Kerala, we'll suggest that come to the offline live classes. But if you say I don't want to come to class because I don't want to travel or whatever, we say okay, take the online live classes, which is going to be like this. If you say that no, I'm working, I don't get time, the timings are not matching, okay, come to us and take the online recorded classes. Okay, so we have a solution for all your needs. We are constantly working towards student satisfaction because we keep our students at the main point, and we want the students to be satisfied. So whatever we are doing, it is from the students' point of view, how we can make students' life easier and how we can make students' life better. Lakshya is a well-known training institute providing ACCA courses in Kerala, as I told you. We consistently strive to maintain being the best among the ACCA coaching centers in Kerala. I would correct this line and say in India. The ACCA coaching offered by Lakshya is crafted with utmost care because we are keeping the end consumer, that is the students, to be at the top. So whatever the students like, we're doing that. It's not according to the comfort of my this thing. It's according to the comfort of the students. Okay, students will like this, okay, let's do it. The students will like that, okay, let's do it. Okay, so like that. This ensures that we provide the updated ACCA syllabus with intensive training given to students. This helps them to gain the skills, abilities, and knowledge required to appear for the exam. So we kind of train you in such a way that you're very perfectly trained for the exam. Now a lot of you might have a doubt that what is so important? We can study on our own self, the study material is available, we can do a self-study and appear for the exam. Of course you can do a self-study and appear for the exam. Great if you can manage on your own. But the thing is that whenever we do a new thing all by ourselves, we face many problems in the way. Obviously we will learn from the problems, but that will take a lot of time. And time is money for us. We want to complete ACCA as fast as possible. For that, how about learning from tutors who have been there, maybe done the mistakes, learned from the mistakes, and they will make sure that you guys don't repeat that mistakes. So all your tutors have already done the course that you're appearing for. So how about taking personalized training from them? So they've been in your place, they've learned the hard way, they have faced difficulties. So obviously they will not want their students to face the same. So you enroll with us, we will tell you how to do the things in a more efficient and effective manner. It's like if you do this, you'll pass. Or this is the best way to pass. So we want to make sure that our students are completing ACCA as fast as possible. That is going to be the goal. This ensures that we provide the updated ACCA syllabus with intensive training given to students. This helps them to gain the skills, abilities, and knowledge required to appear for the exam. We will train you in such a way that you will have a proper guidance till the examination date. It's not like the classes are over, so don't contact us. We're always available on the Telegram groups that we make. You can ask us any questions anytime, and all the faculties make sure that they answer the questions. Okay. We have online and offline classes available in various languages like English, Hindi, and Malayalam. These are the languages that we normally deal with. If your local language is Malayalam and you love taking classes in Malayalam, please come to our coaching institutes. They have Malayalam batches available. English, obviously we're there. Hindi, obviously we're there. We're there everywhere. Okay, so that is like a complete idea of what Lakshya does, and that is your one-stop solution for all your problems. Now what is this revision revolution that we have on YouTube, which is like a live YouTube for 5 days per subject, and which is in the morning it is English, in the afternoon it is Hindi. So what is it all about? Like, what is the fuss about? We are going to study completion, review, and reporting. That is one of the common questions in AA. So basically, we have picked one commonly asked question in the papers. We're going to teach that important topic, and we're going to do questions on that. After which we're going to do a complete mock, and we're going to teach you how to use the ACCA study resources. If you're aware, ACCA has launched their study resources, which is a complete set of notes, quizzes, practice questions, and all of that. So now you don't have to rely on any author for any information. Previously, the books used to be very expensive. Now the ACCA is providing you for free. I will teach you how to use the ACCA Study Hub. We have picked the topic completion, review, reporting, which is one of the common questions in AA. We're going to study that. We're going to solve 4 questions, 4 section B questions on the same. And we will be doing 2 full mock papers, or maybe 1 full mock paper, and the second mock paper we're going to study, we're going to take the important contents out of that and do it. If you guys are aware, we do not have MCQs here. So if this is your first professional paper, you need to know the paper pattern of it. Okay. So this is going to be the revision plan for the next 5 days, wherein we're going to do the topic completion, review, and reporting. We're going to solve questions on the same, on the topic that we have selected, and those will be the 25 marker questions, and we're going to do 2 mock papers. One is going to be the complete mock that I guarantee. The second depends on the availability of time and the importance of the topic. So maybe I'd take the second mock paper, I'd take a semi mock, and maybe I'll introduce a third paper with more important questions. So it depends on what and how we go about with the revision part, but that is going to be our plan. And the thing which we are all interested in, the paper pattern of AAA. So what is asked in the AAA exam? In case if this is your first professional paper, you guys need to really concentrate on what is the paper pattern of AAA. Paper duration is 3 hours and 15 minutes, right? The paper is divided into 2 sections, section A and section B, both having equal weightage. So section A is 50 marks and section B is 50 marks. So both the sections are having equal weightage. Section A is having 1 question, which is like a case study question, and section B is having 2 questions of 25 marks each. So this 1 question is of the section A is for 50 marks. The full question is for 50 marks. And section B, you have 2 questions of 25 marks each. That makes it a complete 100 mark paper. Now, very important this thing. To pass the AAA paper, you need to get at least 50% of the marks, that is 50 out of 100. So if you get 50 or more out of 100, you pass. If you get 49, you fail. If you get 49.5, you fail. They will not give you even a 0.5 grace. So make sure in that aspect you're safe, you're passing well. Okay, so this is the paper pattern of AAA. The duration 3 hours and 15 minutes. Section A, Section B. Section A will have one case study question of 50 marks. Section B will have two constructive response questions of 25 marks each. From where to study, how to study, what to study, how to prove to the examiner that you have studied. Exam support articles. You have to read the exam supporting articles on AAA. You have to read the technical articles which are available for AAA. Technical articles will really give you an idea of what you should do. See, writing the paper and writing it the way you want is not what's required and what's expected of you. You are expected to write the paper according to what the examiner will want you to write. But how will you know what the examiner wants? Like, you don't know the examiner personally. We also don't know who the examiner is. How will you know that what is expected from you for this paper? Because a lot of times students are like, we have written everything but still we are not passing. So, but what does the examiner want? I will show you a technical article, and below that there will be reading the mind of the examiner. So you exactly understand what the examiner wants. Okay. So you have to study from the exam support articles. That will give you an idea of how things are to be done. You will study from the technical articles that are available for every topic. Like if you pick a topic, you have technical article on that. You have to practice the mocks on the CBE practice platform. The CBE practice platform is a platform that looks exactly like your exam. So if you log into your My ACCA account, you will have the CBE platform which looks exactly like your exam. You have to go, you have to assign a mock for yourself, and you have to solve the mock there. Okay, that will give you an idea of how the real exam is going to be. What will be the benefit from this? You guys will say we can solve the mock on Word also. So what's the difference? The difference is it will help you solve a mock in the timed atmosphere. So when there's a timer running at the right, you kind of are aware, okay, the timer is running. I need to really, solve the question properly. And I have to solve it in the given time. So that pressure that builds up in the examination and that makes you go mad, you will have an idea of how to deal with that pressure. And if 2-3 mocks are done for practice, you will get used to the examination pressure and you can perform better in that pressured condition of timed mock, wherein the timer is at the base and it is going like it's continuous going on. And in that timed pressure, you will be able to solve the mocks appropriately. Also, from this attempt, the ACCA has introduced the ACCA Study Hub, which is like a complete hub of the entire contents of whatever paper you're doing. So the ACCA says you don't need to rely on anything else if you do the live ACCA Study Hub. Okay, so Study Hub has everything that you require to pass an examination. Okay, so let's begin, right? So before we begin, I will show you the technical articles, how to read them, where to read them, and how to read the mind of the examiner. So just excuse me for some time. I will just open that, okay? So you have to just search AAA technical articles. See, this is what I have searched. AAA technical articles. So just search the AAA technical articles. Click on that. Then a library of technical articles and videos to help you improve your understanding of areas you find more difficult or develop a broader insight into the subject. For example, if you want to understand a particular topic like completion review and reporting, so you select that you have technical articles on that because you want to understand the area that you find difficult, or you want to understand an area to develop a broad insight into the subject. It's not just that you're finding it difficult, but maybe you want more information on that. So these are the technical articles on corporate governance and its impact on audit practice, laws and regulations. Then there are professional and ethical consideration, what ethics in the AAA exam you have to follow. Then quality management, planning and conducting an audit of historical financial information, exam techniques. This is updated in April 2023, so very important. Group audits, risk and understanding the entity, auditing a specialized industry. So everything you have is covered here. Audit risk, audit working papers, completion review and reporting. This is the topic that we're going to take. Other assignments, current issues and development, multiple areas. Okay, so what I'll do is I will select completion review and reporting. Okay, and I'll select the going concern. So see what is written. It is essential that candidates prepare for the advanced audit and assurance exam and have a thorough understanding of the respective responsibilities of the auditor and management regarding going concern. The going concern review can require significant judgment to be applied, and the impact of external factors such as significant globe events can make the assessment of management's going concern review challenging. Further, recent corporate failures have brought the auditor's review of going concern back into focus. The article discusses the auditor's responsibilities as well as the indicators which could highlight where an entity may not be a going concern and the reporting aspects relating to the going concern. So this is the auditor's objective of the going concern. I'm just reading you one example of the technical article. So IIC 570 going concern contains well-established guidance on going concern, including the following objectives for the auditor: to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence regarding and conclude on the appropriateness of management's use of going concern basis of accounting in the preparation of the financial statements, to conclude based on audit evidence obtained whether a material uncertainty exists relating to events or conditions that may cast significant doubts on the entity's ability to continue as a going concern. Isn't it exactly how it is there in whatever books that we are following? Then to determine the implications for the auditor's report in accordance with ISA 570. And then this is what is given. So the entire technical article. You will say, ma'am, when do we read a technical article? It's not like, we get bored or whatever. I would say read technical articles when you're bored studying for a very long time. So say since the last 1 month you've been studying every day you've been studying for 10 hours. So at the end of the day you kind of feel low and you want to do something different because you want to do something out of the box so that you're refreshed for the next day. That time just go on your phone and read technical articles. Anyways, we like scrolling through the reels. And when you scroll through the reels, you don't even understand when you have wasted 1 hour or so. Instead of that, read the technical articles. Now, somebody might ask me that what is so important in reading technical articles? Like, why is it necessary to read the technical articles? The reason being, read the last line. It is written by a member of the ACCA examining team. I told you have to write the paper from the examiner's point of view. So if you have an article written by an ACCA examining team, this is the best way to understand the mind of the examiner, what he wants exactly in terms of going concern. This is what he wants to conclude. We don't know the examiner personally. The only way to know a person who we cannot meet is by the a method of reading his writings. So this is the best way to know your examiner. Then if I go back, then there's a video on how to earn marks in AAA. The same points that I told you, if you see your communication, analysis and evaluation and all of that. 20 professional skills marks, how to earn it. Then useful tips for the AAA examining team. You can download this PDF and read it for yourself. That will give you an insight of what are the useful tips for the AAA examining team. Reading the mind of the AAA marker, which is very interactive. So let's see what it is. Now this is reading the mind of the AAA marker. As I told you, you have to write the paper on the marker's point of view, because you have to prove to the marker that I have studied well, because she or he doesn't know how it is. So I'm a member of the team who marks the advanced audit and assurance. This article is designed to give you the candidate an insight into my mind, so that you can better understand what a marker will be looking for when it comes to marking your advanced audit and assurance. Can you imagine? She herself has told you that this is what I require. What can be better than that? If I tell you, okay, this is what I'm looking at, next time you'll concentrate on writing only those aspects. So the ones who are watching this lecture and maybe you all have failed the previous attempt of AAA and you all have studied very hard, I think this is where you all are lacking. Please read the mind of the AAA marker. So insight into a marker's thinking, appreciating what are we trained to look for, what we award marks for, the reasons why marks may not be awarded, right, will help you fulfill your potential and gain the necessary marks to pass it. It will help you appreciate the points that will attract markers so that you can better assess your answer when practicing questions. The article uses two candidates' answers to question 2 AAA International Specimen Exam. To support your reading of this article, you should refer to the specimen exam on the ACCA practice platform. You have to go to the practice platform, question 2 observations on the requirement. This is your constructive workspace, how your examination in reality looks. These are the exhibits. You have to open the exhibits, and this is the response option, which is a word processor that will open like this, and you have to give your response there. So this is your exact screen of how your examination in reality will look like. If you're giving a home-based exam, this is what it will look on the laptop. If you're giving center-based, this is what it will look on the computer. So these are the exhibits. You have to click on the exhibits. The exhibits will open, and there's a response option here. You have to click on the word processor, and that will give you a response. So this is the 25 marker question, in which 5 marks is for professional and the requirement is just for 20 marks. So they are exactly given what you are expected to write. Then specimen exam marked answers. 1 mark is awarded for what? Then second mark. So they have also explained to you where the marks are given. Sometimes as a student you feel that I had written everything, but still she didn't give me a mark. So why she didn't give me marks? See here. This is the answer in the word processor. For every point, what mark she is giving, she has explained. It's not that she is doing some partiality, not giving you marks and giving your friend marks. Every mark is explained. See, every highlighted point is having. See, note 7, 1 mark awarded for identification and explanation of the planning review issue and the engagement. Next, 1 mark awarded for professional skepticism and judgment. 1 mark awarded for safeguard of the ethical and professional risk. So every mark that is given by the examiner is understood. And then this is a summary of the marks. Technical articles 11, evaluation and analysis 2 marks, professional skepticism 2, total professional marks 4, overall total 15 out of 20. This is what a student has got, but how can he would have improved the answer? And then again question 2 where she has given marks. So it's not like she's doing partiality in giving marks. Every mark that she is given is explained by her, where she is given and how she is given. Okay, now let's see what the practice platform holds. Okay. So this was reading the mind of AAA marker. Read the mind of AAA marker for specimen exam question 1. This we did for specimen exam question 2. For question 1, you can read her mind here. For specimen exam question 3. So where will you get the specimen exam questions? On your test reach, you select your subject. So your subject is advanced audit and assurance. Select the subject. Then select your international. Then ACCA official resources. Then select the past exam library. And in that, you have so many papers assigned to you. You have AAA International December 2022, March June 21, March June 22, March June 23, September 22. So many papers for your practice. You assign any one mock for you. Okay. Then go to the assigned material. Here the mock. Whenever you assign a mock from here, it becomes assigned here at the below. Click on that. It is not a timed mock. Start is your date of today. This is the mock sample September December 2022. You start the mock. When you start the mock, this is how your examination paper will appear. Do next. These are the instructions, same like you get in the examination. Next, instructions. Next, instructions. How to use the scratchpad workings, everything. You can read it in your free time. Next. Next, how to use the toolbars, the CBA platform, etc. Unless you scroll it entirely, it will not go to next. Okay. So you have to scroll entirely and then you go next. Then exam summary. Section A, 1 question worth 50 marks. This exam is not timed. You can also time it. So select next to start your exam. Next. If you're ready to begin, please click yes. This is the exact, picture in the examination. Exact, the color, everything same. So this is like a real exam only. Then click yes. Then they will give you how section A is divided into. When you click next. This is how your question will look like. This is your section A question. This is the question summary. Then you click the exhibits. First you read the requirement. Always. Whenever you have any question, you read the requirement first so you understand what to look for exactly in the paper. The examination will remain the same except for there will be a timer here and the timer is going to note your time. Read the requirement first, click on the requirement. This exhibit will appear. You can shift it here and there wherever you want. So the exhibit says respond to the instructions in the email from the audit engagement partner for 40 marks and professional is 10 marks. Okay, you close the requirement after you're done reading it. Then select the first exhibit, read the exhibit. In that exhibit you have so many requirements A, B, C, D. Evaluate the significant business risk faced by Mericro, that is the requirement A. When I finish reading it, I'll close it. Then I'll open the second exhibit. When I finish reading it, I will close it. I can even zoom it, or maybe 100%, so it will be easier for me to read it. See, when I'm done, I'll close it. Then I'll open the exhibit 3. This is the exhibit 3. I have extracts, right? I can shift it, close. Then the meeting notes, exhibit 4. Okay, I've read it, close it. Then the requirement is here. The first requirement says evaluate the significant business risk faced by Mercuro. I want to answer the first requirement. How I'll answer? I have 2 response options. One is the spreadsheet, wherein I can solve things. So if I want to solve, first of all, I'll extend this. And if I want to solve, for example, 20x1, then 20x2, then 20x3, answer the data, and the data is, for example, I'm just writing sales, then cost, profit, and whatever is the figure, like okay, so my practical part is done. I close the spreadsheet. It will not get deleted. You have to just close it. Whatever you're writing is going to remain. See, it's there. Just close it. Now I want to write explanation on requirement A, which says evaluate the business risk faced by Mercuro. So I'll go to the briefing notes. I'll click on the briefing notes. These are my briefing notes. I'll write there requirement A. Okay, business risk faced by Mercuro. I'll write my answer. Then I'll write point number 2. Then I'll write point number 3. Then I'll write point number 4. Then I'll write point number 5, depending on how many marks it is. So it is for 8 marks. So I'll write 8 points. Okay, I'm done with this. Now I want to answer part B, which is evaluate and prioritize the significant risk of material misstatement which need to be considered in the audit planning. If it's a theory question, I will write it here, part B. If it is a solving part, I will close this and solve it here on the spreadsheet. If it's a B part, I'll write it here. It's a B part. And then I will solve it here. Whatever it is. Okay. That is how things will be done here. Okay. Now this is done. I'll close it. So this is how you will use the you will assign a mock to yourself and you will solve the mock. Okay, so that should not be a problem now. That is already discussed. Then passing strategic professional exams. Question requirements I explain further. What the question is required, how to answer the question. These are the points that I just explained. You analyze actual meaning. What, how, when, where and why. Understand the difference between what is exactly asked. Apply to the question. Apply properly to the scenario. Assess it, calculate, comment, compare, conclusion, criticize, define, describe, discuss, evaluate, explain, illustrate, interpret, list, outline, prepare, recommend, relate, state and summarize. If you have solved mocks, you know that sometimes they say analyze, sometimes they say apply, sometimes they say define, sometimes they say conclude, sometimes they say illustrate, sometimes they say interpret, sometimes they say recommend, sometimes they say summarize. Everything has different meaning. So depending on what is asked, you have to write it accordingly, because basically they want you to write things to the point. Okay. So this is there. So that is there of, and these you can download the PDFs and read. Okay. These are the technical articles. You can select any one technical article. When you're approaching the AAA exam, this is the ethics that you have to follow. As I told you in the first line of my lecture was, you have to step up. Knowledge is going to remain the same, but you have to step up from AA to AAA. So what is stepping up? This is stepping up. Ensure a solid foundation of knowledge to the fundamental principle, threats to the principle, and potential safeguards to these threats. Candidates at AAA will be expected to develop their understanding more than they did at AA. Candidates at AAA will be expected to develop their understanding more than they did at AA, demonstrating their ability to apply their knowledge to the scenario and provide a depth of answer which addresses the fundamental principles, the threats, the implications of these threats, and considering any possible safeguards of further actions to be taken. Identify, evaluate, and apply your knowledge. Important. Worked example. Self-review threat possibly lead to assuming a management responsibility. You can read how you will earn marks and then the conclusion. This is again written by a member of the AAA examining team. These are the ethics that you have to follow before approaching the AAA exam. It's very important to read it now, because now you guys are approaching the examination. I believe that the studying part is already done, the revision is going on. So that is what you need to concentrate on. Now we take a break of 5 minutes and then we'll continue. I'm back. So I'll now quickly check the comments on the YouTube channel. If you guys have any doubts regarding anything that we've done so far, please put in the comment section and I am going to solve each one's doubts. Okay. So till then, I would want you to just go through this technical articles. I'll just quickly look at the comments if there are any. So select it topic wise. Now we are going to do the topic of completion, review and reporting. You can do it topic wise. Okay, I'll quickly just look at the comments. So now in 5 minutes we're going to begin how to study from your ACCA My Login. Like how to access the study hub and how to study using the study hub. So ACCA has provided you for the first time ever with all the material that you need to study any subject. So I'll teach you that. Till then, just go through the technical articles that are available. If you all are not watching the lecture live and you watch later on also, please put your doubts in the chat box, in your comments. Sorry, not chat box, comments. We look at the comments and we will address it in the next lecture. Okay, just give me a minute. So normally The ones who watch the live class later on also, they put their comments in the comment section, and then we pick up the comments and we answer them in the next lecture. So whatever comments you all put here, whenever you all are watching it at the comfort of your time, whatever time zone you all are in currently, I will answer to it tomorrow. So tomorrow also we have same time, the lecture. Okay. Now the next important part, how to study using your website, My ACCA. Let me start with showing you that. The first thing that you will do is log in to your My ACCA account. Guys, listen to me carefully. Okay, I'm not going to show you from the first step. The first thing that you will do is log in to your My ACCA page using the login ID, and that's your username and password. So everybody who is giving the exam has one username, that's like a number, and a password. Log in to your My ACCA. Your My ACCA, you have to log in there. Then a dashboard will appear which will say good morning XYZ, whatever your name is, or good afternoon, or good evening, whatever. And on the left side you will have a list. In that list you will have an option, My Qualifications. You click on My Qualifications. When you click on My Qualifications, a next page will appear, and on that page there will be a circle of your qualification. Say 9 out of the 13 papers completed, or 10 out of 13 papers completed, you will like have a red semi-completed circle that you are yet to complete the paper. So maybe your last one is remaining, and that is AAA. Below that you have a list of items, and you have small arrows for every list. From that list, when you click on the ACCA Study Hub, it will take you to this page. When you click on ACCA Study Hub from that list, it will take you to this page. Okay, so when it takes you to this page, here above there will be some subjects selected that you have paid the money for. Mostly it is going to be the subject that you have paid for, that is AAA. So it is Advanced Audit and Assurance International. So from the list given below, you can select whatever subject that you are appearing for. We have already selected our subject, that is AAA. Then when you select on chapters, you have all the chapters that are there in AAA available. All the chapters in detail. So you don't have to rely on any other study material. If you wish, you can do it entirely from here. So you will say, ma'am, if we are doing entirely from here, when we have a physical book, we mark the book, we underline it. So we do the text. The first time we are studying, we do the entire text in detail. But the second time we are studying, it's not possible in the given time frame to again do the text. Because we have to do the text, we have to study from the text, and we have to do a lot of past exam questions from the kit. So how again and again we will do the text? Do not worry, ACCA has all the resources for you. This is the study hub. I will select a chapter. For example, I am talking about money laundering. So I'll select money laundering. This is a definition of money laundering which is important. So I'll mark this definition. I'll mark this definition of money laundering and I'll highlight it. Okay. Then money laundering is done. I again go to chapters. Then I select some other topic. Fraud and error. What is an error? I'll again highlight it. What is a fraud? I'll again highlight it. Okay, then I'll again go to chapters. Then materiality. What is materiality and performance materiality? I'll highlight it. So whatever I feel important, I'll highlight. Okay. Lowballing. Highlight. I'll again go to chapters. This is the first time I'm doing it. Okay. These are what I think is important. You can do it according to your this thing. Then forensic accounting and forensic audit. Highlight. Sustainability reporting. Integrated report. Okay. So now from the chapters that I've studied so far, these are the entire syllabus. I found those things to be important which I should mark, like we mark in the physical book. Now the second time I'm doing the kit, I don't have to do the kit again because I've already done it once and I've also marked the important items. The second time, normally when you do a physical book, you concentrate more on the items that you have marked. But how can you do it in the online book? So next time you come here, you select chapters. Don't study from contents. Now click on highlights. So these are all the highlights that you have. I want to study about money laundering. This is the highlighted part. I want to study about professional responsibility and liability. That is what is an error and what is a fraud. I have it marked. Then I close this. I want to study about this lowballing. I study about lowballing. I want to study about materiality and performance materiality. I study about that. I want to study about forensic audit and forensic accounting. I study about that. I want to study about the sustainability report and the integrated report. I study about that. Done. Highlighting part. Everything is done. Now in the chapters, along with highlighting, I can also do removing of the highlight. For example, I had highlighted this part, but I no longer feel that this part is important. So what I'll do, I'll again select that part and do remove highlight. So the highlight gets removed. So once you become well versed with these topics, you can remove the highlight from here also. You can just delete it. Remove highlight. Okay. Then again go to the chapters. This is a chapter, for example. I want to do some small calculations. I can do it 23 plus 6 here and here. Do the calculation. Right? I can bookmark this section. When I bookmark, it will appear in the bookmarks. See, this is what I have bookmarked. So I can open that and the bookmark will open. So again, after I'm done with this, I can delete it. Then along with that, I have one more option. I can record a note on this section. So if I want to record any note, I can write the note down here. I will add that note. So next time when I'm coming here, I don't have to go through all the chapters. I will just check the notes. This is the note that I have on FATF. If I want to edit the note, I'll edit it from here. Save. Or if I want to delete the note, I'll delete it from here. So sometimes we like preparing notes for particular things. Like for example, if I have an expectation gap and I want to prepare a note on that, I'll prepare a note on that. That expectation gap allows you to do this, allows you to do that, etc. And I'll add this note. So next time when I'm doing the chapters, I'll go to notes and I'll see the note on this particular audit reporting gap. So then I'll delete the note, I'll delete. Then bookmarks, if I have any bookmark, the particular page, like in the physical book we bookmark certain pages, I can do that. Highlighting, these are the highlights. If I'm done with the highlights, I don't want it to be highlighted anymore, I'll remove the highlight. If I don't want it to be highlighted anymore, I'll remove the highlight. Remove the highlight and remove the highlight. That are all the features that you have available. There's a calculator, there's a highlight, there's a remove highlight, there's a bookmark, and there's a record a note on the session. Now about this particular page, if your confidence level is high, it will give you a syllabus guide. If your confidence level is high, this is your syllabus. Okay, go back chapters. Okay, so then next time when you read it, you don't have to go through all the chapters and table of contents. You can click on the confidence level. You can click on the notes, study from the notes. You can click on the bookmarks, study from the bookmarks. You can click on highlights, study from the highlights. Now, next, you have studied the entire day for say 10 hours, 12 hours, whatever it is, and at the end of the day you're very bored and you want to do something out of the box. So one thing that normally students tend to do is watch reels on their Instagram or whatever. But when you watch reels, you don't really get refreshed because you're so much into that you just keep on wasting times. So one more thing that you can do, which is going to be like a fun thing also, is click on the flashcards. What is this flashcards? I'll show you. Click on the flashcards. So every time one flashcard is going to appear in front of you, you have to give the meaning of this flashcard. So what is public interest? You give a definition of that. Once you give the definition of that in your own head, you click on that. So that will give you the answer of that. The collective well-being of the community of the people and institutions the professional accountant serves. If you got it right, you click on yes. If you got it right partly, you click on partly. If you didn't get it right, click on no. Then corporate governance. Corporate governance is the means by which the company is managed and controlled. The main aim of corporate governance is to ensure that the companies are run well in the interest of the shareholders, stakeholders, and other wider community. So you click on that. System by which the organization is directed and controlled. Did you get it right? Click on yes. Money laundering. What is money laundering? Think of the definition of it. Click on that. Process by which criminals attempt to conceal the true origin and ownership of the proceeds of the criminal activity along with them to maintain control over the proceeds and ultimately providing a legitimate cover for their source of income. So every time you get it right, you click on yes. If you didn't get it right, you click on no. If you partly got it right, click on partly. And what is SAR? Suspicious Activity Report. First think of an answer in your mind. And if you get it right, no, whatever. Then legal privilege. If you get it right, no, whatever. Click. So the flashcards will keep on coming. If you want to shuffle it, you can shuffle it from here. Click on shuffle. Click on shuffle. Click on shuffle. Click on shuffle. If you want to take the adaptive mode, click on that. If you're bored to just do it again and again and you want a list of all the definitions, click on the list. You will get a list of all flashcards and their definitions. But I would want you to do it the flashcard wise because that is going to give you an idea of, how it is to be done. Okay, now flashcards is done. When you're doing each chapter, you want to know that how much you have understood from this chapter. Although you do not have MCQs in this, but MCQs make you realize कि आपको कितना आता है, how much do you know. For example, I have selected the chapter 4, Professional Responsibility and Liability. In that I have studied error, in that I have studied fraud and all of that. And now I want to test my knowledge, that how much do I really know, how much I have understood. So I'll go on quizzes. I'll go on chapter 4 quiz, which is the error and fraud wala, and I will start the quiz. So I'll select the options, whatever the options are. I'm just randomly doing it. to show you. So the moment I click on the last answer, it will give me a result quickly. So I took all of the 5 questions, 5 of the 5 taken. I got only one question right, which is the 5th one. Rest all I got wrong. That means I have not studied the chapter well. I scored only 20% marks. I'll review what went wrong. So this, I selected the answer B, but the actual right answer was C. And this has lesson connection with chapter 4, section 1.4. Then I go on the next question again. I'd selected C, the correct answer is A. Like that, I can review all of the questions. Once my review is done, I'll do done reviewing. This is the average time I took to answer the question and all of that. After I'm done, I'll reset the test and I'll confirm reset so that I can solve it one more time after I finish learning the chapter properly. Okay, then again I'll go to quizzes. I'll select one more quiz. I will start the quiz. See, there's a timer that is going on here. Similarly, in the exam also you will have timer. You have to be well versed with the timer. Again, 20% correct. Again, I'll review all. I'll get an answer of where I went wrong. When I'm done reviewing, I'll again reset the test and make sure that I can do the test next time. Okay, so that quizzes part is done. How many ever questions you take, it will appear here. 1 out of 21 quiz taken or 2 out of 21 taken, like that. By the time the exam appears, you have to appear for all the quiz, and it will give you a result also here. So if you've got 50 marks, 40 marks, 30 marks, whatever, and wherever you're getting less marks, you make sure you do the quiz again when you reset the quiz. Okay, so you reset all quizzes, confirm reset. So all the quizzes will be reset again. Then you can do it again. Whenever you want, you can reset it and do it again. So it will give you like an additional practice of things. Every chapter is having chapter-wise quizzes. So pick one chapter per day, do the chapter, do the flashcards, do the quizzes. Okay. After that is done, AAA is having a lot of 25 markers and 50 marker questions. Where can we solve it? Again, in quizzes also, you can note down the quizzes, you can bookmark the quizzes, and you can highlight the quizzes for your further practice. But I want to solve the actual real exam questions, like the section I want to do the section B and the section A questions. I don't want to do the quizzes because quizzes are not there in the exam. But for practice, I'm obviously going to do, because it will give me an idea if I'm theoretically strong or not. But now I want to practice real questions. So I'll go on practice. Again, I have so many questions. I have 85 questions. Chapter wise again. So I select the chapter money laundering. I start practice of the question. This is the question. Describe 4 measures that assist in preventing professional accountants from being used for money laundering purposes. I'll plan my answer. I'll write down my answer here. Whatever the answer is. Okay, now my answer is done. My answer is over. I'll confirm the answer. The moment I confirm the answer, the right answer will appear here. So this is the right answer in green. For the entire question, I can compare my answer with the right answer and self-mark myself. Okay. Compare it, self-mark myself. Once that is done, I will click on continue. So that is the question taken. The average time I took to answer the question, 1 hour, 2 hours, whatever. Average session duration. I'll review. This is my answer again. I'm done reviewing. Again, if I've scored less marks after self-marking, I will again reset it. Okay, so that reset thing you can do later from here. Now this line will show you how many questions are completed. Just now it was 0 of 85 questions completed. Just now I did one question, so now it is showing 1 of 85 completed. As in when you do the questions, it will be completed and the red line will be filled. Before the exam, make sure you practice all these questions because the paper is going to be set by the ACCA. This study hub is provided by ACCA, so obviously there has to be some link to it. So make sure you practice everything. If you scored less, make sure you confirm, reset, and again reset the questions. Again, all the questions will be reset and 0 completed. Okay. Again, in these questions, if you want to write notes to anything, you can add notes. If you want to bookmark a question that you have started with a question, but suddenly you find that the question is very difficult, so you want to mark that question and keep, and you want to answer that question later, or maybe you want to ask the tutor it out, so you can bookmark it or you can highlight it. So that is with the questions. Whichever subject you want, you select from here. That is how you have to access the study hub. So you have chapters, you have flashcards, you have quizzes, you have practice. What can be better than this? You can also mark your confidence level, medium, then again chapters. So you know that this particular part is having a medium confidence. This particular part is having less confidence. So this confidence level is marked. That will give you an idea of which topic you have to do again. So I hope you guys are clear with the study hub. If you guys have any doubts, please put it in the chat box. I'll check it right away. Till then, please do the flashcards just for time pass. I'll quickly check the comments and get back. So now we will take a break of 5 minutes and then start with the topic that we're going to do today. Okay. So let's begin. Let's begin our syllabus for today. Yeah. So let's begin our revision practice. Just give me a minute. So let's focus on the revision part. The topic that we are going to study in our revision of AAA is completion and review. So what about completion and review that we're going to study? So we have just taken up like a few topics that we're going to revise. Not study, but rather revise, because the exam is just around the corner and the studying part is done. This is just a revision revolution that we're having. So we have the meaning of subsequent events. We have the meaning of evaluation of a misstatement. What to do in case of a misstatement? You have to decide if the misstatement is material to you or if it is immaterial to you. If it is material, then it needs to be addressed. If it is immaterial, then it can be ignored depending on the situation. Materiality doesn't only refer to the quantitative threshold, like the quantitative materiality. Materiality also has a lot to do with the quantitative threshold. So quantitative wise materiality, just not quantity but also quality wise. Like certain factors are not material quantity wise, but they're very material because of the quality and the nature of their transaction. So that needs to be determined. Then going concern, to address if your company is a going concern or not, and in what situations is your company a going concern, what is a going concern. Then completion and review on that. Then final analytical procedures that a company must undertake, review procedures, and the written representations. In certain situations, if the management doesn't listen to you, you must take in writing from the management that you had addressed this issue, but they didn't listen to you. They said that it was not needed to listen to them. And that is why tomorrow, if the shareholders question you that why this issue was not resolved, you need to explain that this is the reason why the issue was not resolved, because the management didn't listen to us. Again, the shareholders are going to blame you, but why you didn't tell the management? Then you can have and you can show them the written representation from the management saying that you had told them to make necessary changes, but they failed to make. Now I'll just tell you a quick story about the base of audit and assurance and AAA. Is that first of all, these are just the basic facts. I'm just clearing that. Auditor is an independent person, right? He's not a part of the company. He is appointed by the shareholders to go into the company on behalf of the shareholders, audit the company, understand the company, identify any misstatements, identify any wrongdoings in the company, come and give shareholders a report. And the report needs to show the real view that the auditor has observed in the company. It has to show the real idea of what the company is, because shareholders are the real owners of the company. They have full right to know where their funds are invested, how their funds are invested, if they're invested in the right direction, or is there any money laundering or any illegal activities that are happening with their funds, because the funds are very important. And the shareholders do not want their funds to be misappropriated or misused by any person or any party whatsoever. For that reason, it needs to be known that where the funds are going exactly. So for that reason, shareholders cannot go into the company themselves and find out everything. because shareholder is a person who doesn't have prior knowledge, or who's not trained maybe to understand about the company's doings, because shareholder is a normal person who just has money and has invested it. So they will appoint a specialized person who understands everything, that is the auditor. The auditor is an independent person who goes into the company on behalf of the shareholders and who finds out about everything in the company, comes and reports it to the shareholders, and it is the duty of the auditor to report correct facts to the shareholders, because the shareholders are paying the auditors, and the auditor needs to be independent of the company, doesn't need to take sides of the management. The reason being, the auditor is an independent party, and if the auditor wants to make a name into the company, he should be independent, because if he conducts any errors, his name will get spoiled in the market. So it's completely in his hands if he wants to make a good name for himself or if he wants to spoil his name. Okay. With the same this thing, let's proceed. Exam focus. What you should focus on in your AAA exam is something that you need to consider. One of the questions in the exam will focus on completion, review, and reporting. So one of the questions is sure to come in the examination on completion, review, and reporting. Recent events may result in adjustments to the financial statements or the need for a disclosure note to be added. The auditor will also evaluate the effect of any uncorrected misstatements, as these may lead to a modified audit opinion. So if there are any uncorrected misstatements, there can be two possibilities of uncorrected misstatements. If there is any misstatement in the books of accounts which are uncorrected, the auditor will go to the management and tell them to correct it. If the management agrees to correct it, then the story gets over there and there. But if the management says that we are not going to correct it, and if the matter is material, then it may lead to a modified audit opinion, because the management is not listening. It is a material matter. Obviously, the auditor will modify their audit opinion. In the exam, you may have to evaluate misstatements and suggest additional audit procedures to be performed to reach a conclusion on such matters before stating the impact to the report if the issues are not resolved. If the issues are not resolved, if you're not listening to the auditor, if the matter is immaterial, it's okay. But if the matter is material, still the directors are not listening, then obviously the auditor is going to modify the opinion. So these are the exam focused topics that you need to focus on: of completion, review, and reporting, evaluation of any uncorrected misstatements, any subsequent events that become known to the auditor after the auditor's report, etc., etc. So this is what you should focus on in the examination. I want you to go through this slide and then we'll continue. Till then, I'll quickly check the comments. So these are the points that you should focus on in the examination. Very, very important. And there is bound to be a question on this. What are subsequent events? Subsequent, the name itself says, after a date, subsequent to that. So if I say that subsequent to the exam, you can watch something online. Subsequent means after. So what is a subsequent event? Subsequent event is an event occurring between the date of financial statements and the date of auditor's report. The date of financial statements is the end of preparation of financial statements, that is the year end, and the date of auditor's report. Now everybody is aware that the financial statements are prepared, then the audit starts, and then the auditor's report is prepared. So between the time when the financial statements are ready and the auditor's report is yet to be issued, whatever facts that come known after the preparation of the balance sheet are known as subsequent events. Now they become known to you after the balance sheet is prepared, that is why they are known as subsequent events. Because there's a gap between the balance sheet preparation and the issuance of the auditor's report. So whatever facts that become known during that time are known as subsequent events. And the facts that become known to the auditor after the date of auditor's report are also subsequent events. That is, between the financial statements and the date the auditor's report is signed, and the facts that become known after the auditor's report is signed but before it is issued. So even there's a time gap between the signing and the issuing to the company. So between that also, all these events together are known as subsequent events. But these subsequent events which happen after the reporting period are identified into two categories. What are the two categories? One is the adjusting event and one is the non-adjusting event. Certain events out of these can be adjusted back to the balance sheet and certain events cannot be adjusted. You cannot really go to the balance sheet again and adjust it. Okay. So subsequent events are all the events after the balance sheet date till the auditor's report is signed, and the facts that become known to the auditor after the auditor's report is signed but before the audit report is issued to the shareholders are all known as subsequent events. This is the timeline that I was talking about. Year end, that is the balance sheet date, and till the auditor's report is signed by the auditor. Signing is not yet done. Till the signing happens, whatever events become known to the auditor from the year end, that is from the balance sheet date to till the time the auditor has signed the report, in that time frame, whatever events become known to the auditor, in that time frame, whatever happens becomes your active duty. And once the sign is done, whatever the auditor comes to know after the sign is done, till the financial statements are issued to the general public, signing is already done now. Auditor can do nothing. So then it becomes his passive duty. So what is the difference between the active duty that the auditor has till he signs the report? It is his active duty. And once the signing is done, it becomes his passive duty. So what is the difference between two? What is an active duty and what is a passive duty? In active duty, that is till the audit report is signed by the auditor has to perform procedures to ensure that subsequent events have been accounted for appropriately. You have to make sure that the subsequent events are appropriately recorded in the books of accounts. And once the auditor's report is signed, the auditor now cannot unsign the report, right? So now things become his passive duty. So what is his passive duty? No obligation to perform procedures because now the sign is already being done, but must take action if they become aware of events which would cause a modified opinion. This is the passive duty that the auditor faces. Auditor doesn't have any responsibility here because his job is done, his signing is done, but that doesn't mean he doesn't care at all. It is not his active duty, but it is his passive duty. So this is a diagram of the same. Please go through the diagram before we proceed further. So passive duty doesn't mean no duty at all. It is his duty, but it is passive, not that active. He doesn't have to perform procedures. He can, but there's no obligation as such which tells him that you have to compulsorily perform the duty. Now the first part, between the date of the financial statements and the date of auditor's report. That is, they're talking about this timeline. This timeline. Till here. That is the active duty that they're talking about now in detail. Now pay attention. The auditor should perform procedures to identify events that might require adjustment or disclosure in the financial statements. Because it is an active duty of the auditor, in the active duty of the auditor has to perform procedures to identify that whatever events have occurred, do they require an adjustment in the financial statements or do they need to be disclosed in the financial statement? If the events are material, okay, the subsequent events that have occurred before the auditor's report is signed, if material adjusting events are not adjusted for, or material non-adjusting events are not disclosed, the auditor will ask management to make necessary amendments to the financial statements, because still the audit report is not signed by the auditor. So it is his active duty. So out of the subsequent events that have occurred before he is signed, if the matter is material, he will tell the management to make necessary changes to the books of accounts. If the matter is immaterial, then no need to make changes in the books of accounts, but at least disclose that this fact has happened. So he will ask the management to make the necessary amendments to the financial statements, because it's his active duty there. If the identified adjustments or disclosures necessary are not made by the management, there can be two possibilities. The management will say yes and make the changes. If the management says yes and makes the changes, the matter gets over there and there. But if the management says no, we are not going to make changes, then the auditor should consider the impact that these subsequent events have on the auditor's report. If the matter is very, very important and very material and the management is refusing to make changes, then what the auditor has an option is, still the audit report is not signed, so he will modify his opinion. Previously, if his opinion was the financial statements show a true and fair view, now he can give a qualified opinion, an adverse opinion, whatever, based on the situation. Okay, because still the report is not signed, the ball is in the auditor's court. The auditor can do whatever to tell the management that please make changes, otherwise I will change my report. Because the ball is in the auditor's court, therefore it's the active duty of the auditor. Okay. What are the subsequent event procedures that you will consider to make sure if there are any subsequent events in the company or not? Like, how will you understand what subsequent events have occurred, what are the events, etc. You will inquire of the management first of all if they are aware of any events which are adjusting or non-adjusting that have not yet been included or disclosed in the financial statement. So you will ask the management if they are aware of any misstatements that have occurred, because you want to know if there are any subsequent events in the company. Then you will inquiring into management procedures, systems for the identification of events after the reporting period. After the reporting period, if any events have occurred, please ask the management if really any events have occurred. When you read the minutes of members and directors meeting, you come to know and you have an idea if there are any subsequent events that have occurred. You will review accounting records including budgets, forecast, cash flows, management accounts and interim information. With this also you will understand if there are any subsequent events Inspect after date receipts from receivables. Again, after date receipt is after the date of financial statements, again for subsequent events. Inspect cash book after the year end for receipts, payments that were not occurred for at the year end. Anything that happens after the year end is subsequent events, so these are the subsequent event procedures. Inspecting the sales price of inventories after the year end. Again, after the year end you're doing anything, it is for subsequent events. So these are the procedures that you will conduct if you want to know if there are any subsequent events into the company. Now before we move to the passive duty, which is this, I will quickly get water for me. Till then you guys can read this. You guys rather take a break, I'll just come. And then we start with the passive duty of the auditor. Okay, so these are the procedures that you will conduct for in case of subsequent events. The now next one is between the date of the auditor's report and the date the financial statements is issued. So I'll show you on the timeline where it comes. It comes here. Auditor's report is signed. After that, what comes to be known till the date the financial statements are issued to the shareholders. So that is the passive duty of the auditor. So since it's the passive duty, the signing is already done. Auditor's part is done. The signing is already completed. The auditor is under no obligation to perform audit procedures after the audit report has been issued. However, if they become aware of a fact which is a very serious fact, which would cause them to amend the auditor's report, they must take action. If they are coming across a fact which would, be very important, which would make them to amend the auditor's report, they must take action. This will normally be in the form of asking the client to amend the financial statements, auditing the amendments, and reissuing the auditor's report. So whatever facts that become known to the auditor really has no obligation because the auditor report is signed. But if the fact is a very important fact, it's a very crucial fact, then they will normally tell the client, that is the company, to amend the financial statements, and the auditor will reissue the auditor's report. Now the management also has two options. They will listen to this, they will make changes, the auditor will amend the report. But if the management says that we are not going to make changes, then what will happen? If the management does not amend the financial statements and the auditor's report has not yet been issued to the client, the report is signed, no doubt. The signing part is done by the auditor. Signed is there, but it is not yet issued to the public. Because there's a gap between signing. It's not like just now the auditor came to the office, signed, and that point itself the report is submitted to the public. There's a time gap in between. So the management has not amended the financial statements. The audit report has not yet been issued to the client, although it is signed, but it has not yet been issued. So in that situation, the auditor can still modify his opinion. The auditor can still modify his opinion. And what are the facts that you should do after the financial statements are issued? That is here. After the financial statements are issued, here. Financial statements are given to the public also, and after that you come to know something. So here the auditor is under no obligation to perform audit procedures after the financial statements have been issued. However, if they become aware of the fact which would have caused them to amend the auditor's report, then they must take action. The auditor should discuss the matter with the management and consider if the financial statements require amendment even after the financial statements are issued. The auditor should perform audit procedures on the amendments to ensure that they have been put through correctly. The auditor should review the steps taken by management to ensure anyone who is in receipt of the previously issued financial statements is informed. So these are the steps that the auditor will take after the financial statements are issued to the general public. Okay, once the financial statements are issued, that time the auditor will take these steps. What is a going concern? Going concern is the assumption that the entity will continue in business for the foreseeable future. Going concern is a fundamental principle in the preparation of financial statement. Going concern means whenever the financial statements are prepared by the company, they are always prepared under the assumption that the business is going to be there for the foreseeable future, and foreseeable future is defined as 1 year, that is 12 months. That means at least for the next 12 months we are not going to close down. That is the assumption that is made for foreseeable future. Why is this assumption made, and why are financial statements prepared on the assumption of going concern? Because whenever you prepare the financial statements, you prepare it with a view to tell your shareholders that, see, we have done so well with your money, please invest more in our company. And any people who are not your shareholders, you're encouraging them that please put money in our business. So if you're planning to close down the business in the next 12 months, then why will you ask people to invest? So whenever you're preparing the financial statements, you're always preparing it with the assumption that the entity will continue the business for a foreseeable future. That means come invest in my company. I'm not planning to close down at least for the next 12 months. But how is the financial statements of a company prepared who are planning to close down within the 12 months? That time, the financial statements are not prepared on a going concern, but they are prepared on any other basis than going concern, that is the breakup basis. Because the company is telling the shareholders that, see, we are planning to close down, therefore don't invest. We are preparing the financial statements on a breakup basis. So going concern is always taken into consideration when you're preparing. But if you are not preparing via going concern, then you have to state it that you're preparing via breakup basis. What is the management's responsibility in terms of the going concern? First of all, the financial statements are prepared by the management. So management is responsible for preparing the financial statement and must make a specific assessment of the entity's ability to continue as a going concern. It is the duty of the management because the management knows their business well in and out. So the management, by looking at various factors, will decide if the entity is a going concern or not a going concern, and depending on that fact, the management will prepare the books of accounts. This requires making judgments about the future outcomes of events or conditions which are inherently uncertain. So basically the management has to make a study of what do they feel about the company, looking at various factors that we're going to study later. And looking at those factors, the management kind of has to make an understanding if the entity is a going concern or not. So various conditions the management has to take into accounts, and the management has to decide that, okay, based on these factors, I'm giving a judgment that obviously my company is going to go on for the foreseeable future. So I'm making the financial statements on a going concern basis. But if the management comes across any major problems into the company that makes them believe that we don't think we're going to survive in the market, maybe we're going to close down in the next 3 months or in the next 6 months. So let us prepare the financial statements on a breakup basis, which is not a going concern. Okay. Management must prepare the financial statements on the most appropriate basis, that is either the going concern basis or the breakup basis. So the management has to decide all of this. Management has to decide as in not based on his own judgment, but based on the various factors that he sees and he comes across in the company. And based on those factors that he has observed in the company or he has studied in the company, he will decide whether a company is a going concern or a breakup basis. Now, the breakup basis requires that all assets and liabilities are reclassified as current and revalued at net realizable value. Because the breakup basis is probably the last year of your business because you're planning to close down. So all assets and liabilities should be transferred to current because there can be no non-current. Further provisions for liquidation such as redundancy and legal cost may also be required. So if you're planning only to close down the company, you need to also bear some legal cost with the liquidation and the redundancy provisions for removing the employees. All of that needs to be provided in advance because now you are preparing the financial statements on a breakup basis depending on the various facts that you have observed in the company, that you feel that the company is not in a position to continue the business, the company is planning to close down somewhere, the company cannot survive in this heavy competition, and for that reason you have to prepare the financial statements on breakup basis. Now when in the financial statements nothing is stated, it is taken into consideration that it is a going concern basis. Going concern basis preparation of the financial statements is unsaid. Okay. Whereas if you're preparing on the breakup basis, you have to specifically state that you're preparing the financial statements on a breakup basis. So that is the management's responsibility to do all of that. The management's responsibility is done. Okay. Now what is the auditor's responsibility in this aspect? What the auditor will do? The auditor will obtain sufficient and appropriate evidence regarding the appropriateness of management's use of the going concern basis of accounts in the preparation of financial statements. That means the auditor will not simply close his eyes and trust the management's claim. If the management says it is a going concern, the auditor from his side will find out the appropriateness of management's use of going concern. That is, the auditor will find out if actually it is a going concern or not. The management will reconfirm. Because ultimately, management is an internal part of the organization. The management wants his organization to flourish, so the management can say anything. Even if the management believes that the company is not a going concern, it can still say it's a going concern and get money from the public because it's already sinking. So you want to make sure that the management is speaking the truth. That is why you will do your own research also. You will not blindly trust the management. You will do your own research also. Conclude on whether a material uncertainty exists about the entity's ability to continue as a going concern. The management is saying it's a going concern, but you confirm if really it is a going concern, if there's any material uncertainty that will cause or make you believe that the company is not a going concern, but it is maybe it will liquidate in the coming year or whatever. And the auditor has to report in accordance with ISA 570. That is, the auditor's reporting should be done. Audit is conducted to make sure that the financial statements are prepared in all accordance with all bases in response to the applicable financial reporting framework, and the audit shows a true and fair view of the company. That is the main responsibility of the auditor. That don't blindly trust whatever the management is saying. Do your own research. What do you feel about the company? If there is any material uncertainty about it, speak about that to the management. Question management claims that why do they think that it is a going concern and it is not a breakup basis, and etc. So basically, the auditor challenges everything the management does. Challenges not just for fun or not just because auditor wants to show that I'm great or something. Challenging for good causes, for good purposes, because auditor is an independent party who is appointed by the shareholders. Auditor is not a part of the management, so obviously from the shareholders side, the auditor has to question the management. So what is the conclusion on this? Based on the audit evidence obtained, the auditor should determine if, in their judgment, a material uncertainty exists that may cast significant doubt on the entity's ability to continue as a going concern. The auditor has to make sure that based on all the audit evidences that are obtained, if there is any material uncertainty that may cast a doubt on the entity's ability to continue as a going concern. And the auditor also needs to check, along with this material uncertainty, things that the basis of preparation and the basis of preparing the financial statement is or is not appropriate in the circumstances. The financial statements should be prepared on certain bases, like the IFRS standards, the IS standards, taking into all the material aspects into consideration. So the auditor has to check that the management has followed all of these. Because the management is the internal party, the management can obviously want the company to flourish, but the auditor has to cross-check these. The auditor has to question the management's claims and not blindly trust the management, because if the auditor is blindly trusting the management, that means the auditor is not independent. So if the auditor is independent, he has to question the management's claims. Now previously I told you that it is the management's responsibility to make sure that the company is a going concern or not. So I said we're going to study the factors that will help management decide if the company is really a going concern or not. So what are the factors? These are the indicators of going concern risk. Based on these indicators, you can understand if the company is a going concern or not a going concern. For example, rapidly increasing cost. If suddenly the cost of the raw materials, everything is just increasing like anything, you will not be able to break even. And if you're not able to break even, you will not be able to earn the profit. And if you're not able to earn the profit, you will not be able to conduct the business. This in turn will lead to losses. If you're not able to conduct the business, in the long run, you will face a lot of losses. and ultimately you would be forced to close down the business. So this is the first indicator of your company sinking down. Second one is shortage of supplies. So I'm making this pen, and for making this pen, I'm getting supplies of raw materials from a company, and I'm only using that quality of plastic in my pens. I cannot do with any other quality. But if the supplier itself is closing down, I will be falling short of the supplies. I will not be able to make the pen. In turn, I will not be able to make my quantities. I'll not be able to sell it. I'll not be able to get money. Again, my company will sink. So again, an indicator of going concern risk. Then adverse moments in exchange rates. I am dealing with a forex company abroad. I buy and sell materials abroad, but suddenly there's an adverse moment in exchange rate risk which is against me. I'm facing huge losses in forex. The rates have changed against me. So again, I'm not able to break even in that competition, and in the long run, I will sink. Business failures among customers and suppliers. Suddenly, my product that I was dealing with has become out of date. First, when the mobile phones came, Nokia was like the mobile phone. Everybody loved having Nokia. It was like a swag into the market that, I'm having Nokia phone. But as and when other competitors came into the market with Android phones, suddenly Nokia went down. Business failure. They failed to adapt at the right time. So this failure again has huge going concern risks. Then loan repayment falling due in the near future. There's a huge loan that the company had taken, and suddenly it is falling due, and you don't know where to arrange funds from. And the only way to arrange funds is selling maybe a godown, a factory, or a property of the business, which is a very important property. And if you don't sell that and repay the loan, the bank is going to confiscate your property. So either or you're in failure. So this loan payment has got due, you don't have money, you have to sell a property. If you don't sell a property, the bank will confiscate the property and sell it for you. So this is one more indicator where the company can sink, and this is an indicator of going concern risk. High gearing. What is high gearing? That means your company is very risky. You have a lot of debts as compared to your equity. You have a lot of liabilities as compared to your assets. Your company is very risky. Anytime it can sink. There are certain people who operate very risky companies. They believe in high risk, high returns. These companies also fail within a blink of eye. So these high gearing companies are also an indicator of going concern risk. Then approaching borrowing limits. Your borrowing limits have already reached the top. Nobody is ready to give you loan into the market because you've already taken all the possible loans into the market. So you don't have a borrowing limit at all. You don't have inflow of money. Your business is not doing well. There's no outflow of money happening. You're not even breaking even. So in the long run, your borrowing limits have been exhausted. Everything has been exhausted. So the only option that you have is close down the business and sit back. Shark Tanks came on TV last year, and there were a lot of business examples who went from year to year and who also fell from there to year. That can be an example of indicators of going concern risk. And if you have observed, the sharks ask them so many questions regarding the various ratios, the gearing ratios or the profitability ratios. That is to check how risky your company is. Then loss of key staff. So I had a company which was a service company. We used to give services to customers regarding maybe career guidance. Okay. So we were providing career guidance services, and I had staff whom I trained a lot regarding this career guidance, and they used to give a nice insight with a nice PPT to the students that these are the options that you have after 10th, or these are the options you have open after you take commerce in 12th standard and everything. But suddenly my key staff left my company and they maybe went somewhere else and started their own business or whatever. So now I don't have people to conduct my business. Alone, I cannot manage so much because my business is maybe spread across and all my key staff is left ultimately because maybe I'm not paying them well or whatever the problem is, or maybe they want to start their own practice. So in this situation, I don't have staff to conduct my business, and it will take a long time for me to employ another staff, train them, make them experts in the field, and then tell them to, talk about my business. So this loss of key staff is going to affect me a lot. So that is why I have to close down the business. And this is one more indicator of going concern risk. Then loss of key suppliers or customers. Key suppliers, I give you an example of pen. The plastic comes from a source. The supplier decides to close down. I cannot do business. Loss of key customers. I had a strong customer base for these pens, but suddenly there's a new fad in the market wherein people have stopped using this kind of pens and suddenly switched to some different type of pen. So in that situation, I don't have a customer base. If I don't have a customer base, my products are not going to be sold. If my products are not going to be sold, I will be having a lot of obsolete inventory with me. And if there is a lot of obsolete inventory, by staying into the go down, the pens will become old, their ink will dry. Obsolete inventory has to be valued at the lower of cost or NRV according to IS2 inventories. Again, my products will not be sold, the money will not come in. If the money will not come in, I will face serious problems. I will not be able to break even, and ultimately I will have to close down my business. Like I gave you an example of Nokia phones, we also had those traditional cameras which used to click pictures. Then we had to wash that roll and then print the pictures. We didn't have an option of selection. Like whatever you click, you have to wash it. But now with technology, we have digital cameras, we have mobile cameras wherein we can select the best picture. We don't even print it nowadays. So this is the sudden change in the technology that happens. When computers came first, it had like a big box type structure. Everybody was crazy about the computers. Then came the flat screen computers, and now laptops. And now people prefer laptops because you can just close the laptop and carry it anywhere you want. But the desktop you cannot really carry. So as the technology changes, maybe in the next coming years there might be something better than a laptop which can be more mobile maybe. So then the laptops will become out of date. So you have to be very quick to the changes in technology, because technological obsolescence of product range happens quickly. It doesn't tell you and happen. It's just that you need to be, as an entrepreneur, you need to be so much like your mind should be so much in presence with the current technological changes that you should react to technology quickly. Like you were making desktops, suddenly you realize that nobody wants to buy desktops, everybody's moving towards laptop. Suddenly stop the production of desktops and start laptops using the same technology. Sell laptops. Along with that, maybe make a limited quantity of desktops. You should react to the technology fast. Otherwise, technological obsolescence is a serious matter. The companies which didn't react to technology on time are the examples that even today we give our students, like Nokia. Nokia, the first Android was offered to Nokia. Nokia said, I don't want to go ahead with Android because I feel whatever I'm doing with my immense customer base is superb. Somebody else took up Android and rest is history. Similarly, with the traditional cameras, I think Kodak was the company that had the traditional cameras. They were offered the digital cam technology. They said, no, we are the leading producer of cameras. We don't want to go ahead with the technology. The rest is history. It remained there and the others went up in competition. Similarly, you should be able to react to technology in a very efficient and effective manner. An impact of major litigation. Litigation is any legal claims on you. For example, if some customer has sued you because you've supplied bad products to them, or if some company has sued you because you have quality control issues, so you have to discuss the impact of this litigation or this legal claim with your lawyers. And if the lawyers feel that your case is not strong, you might need to pay them damages. And the damages are worth crores. So that can again be an indicator of going concern if you don't have that much money to pay a legal major litigation. So these are the indicators which will help the management decide on what basis to prepare the books of accounts, because ultimately management is the one who is responsible for preparing the books of accounts. So depending on this, the management will decide that okay, the books of accounts need to be prepared on a going concern basis, or the books of accounts need to be prepared on a breakup basis. Okay, so these are the indicators of going concern. Now, what is the value of obtaining a written representation from the management? Why is obtaining a written representation from the management given so much prominence and given so much importance? IIC 580 written representation requires the auditor to obtain written representation from the management that it has fulfilled its responsibility for the preparation of financial statements, to support other audit evidence relating to the financial statements or specific assertions if deemed necessary by the auditor or required by specific ISAs. The auditor has been provided with all relevant information and that all transactions have been recorded and reflected in the financial statement. So you have to obtain a written representation from the management that the management has done its part of its responsibility of preparing the financial statements, support audit evidence, relevant information and transactions have been recorded. Why is so much importance or prominence given to the written representation? The reason being, if there is no written representation and if everything is just done orally, the management can later on say that we never did these things, or the management can say that we never fulfilled our responsibility, or we never gave an audit evidence. Because people tend to change facts in the companies along with the situations. Written representations always serve as a proof to prove certain facts. It's like a proof that, okay, you have done this. It's like a proof that you had done this. And take their signature below that. So it serves as a proof for certain facts in the company. So that is the value of written representations from the management. Please read through it and go through it. I'll quickly check the comments in the chat box. Okay, so we'll proceed further. What is the exam focus in reporting? So one of the questions in the exam will focus on completion and reporting. Reporting may be examined in several ways. As I told you, I've picked up a topic which is normally asked in the examination, and the topic is reporting. So one of the questions in the exam will focus on completion and reporting. And reporting can be examined in several ways. What are the several ways? You may be asked to describe the implications for the auditor's report if issues identified during the audit are not resolved. So, as I told you, that there are two options that the management has. The management can either resolve the issue, accept it, and update the financial statements, or the management will refuse to do that. The implications of both, if the issue is resolved or if the issue is still not resolved. Critically evaluate extracts of a draft report, that is, say what is wrong with it and explain why. If there's a draft report, say what is wrong in the report and explain why it is wrong, and explain the matters the auditor should communicate to those charged with governance. So this is what the auditor can do, and what the auditor will want to do. So please read through it. This is the exam focus that we have. What matters should the auditor communicate with those charged with governance? Who are those charged with governance? What will the auditor say to those people who are charged with governance? After that, additional communications. In certain circumstances, auditors are required to make additional communication in the auditor's report, even though the financial statements show a true and fair view. So it's not just about true and fair view every time that the auditor concentrates on, but other than that, there are certain circumstances that you require to make additional communications in the auditor's report, even though the financial statements are showing a true and fair view. So the financial statements are perfect, the financial statements are correct, and the auditor needs to make an additional communication. So what are these additional communications? Material uncertainty relating to going concern. Like the balance sheet is perfect, but the auditor feels that there is some material uncertainty which is related to going concern. So the auditor will report on that. The emphasis of matter. Everything is there in the books of accounts, but the auditor wants your emphasis on that matter. Your emphasis means the shareholder's emphasis on the matter. The auditor will want that, okay, you emphasize on this matter. So that will be put in emphasis of matter and other matter. And other matter, which is any other matter which is not included, but the auditor wants you to just know about it. Okay, so emphasis is the matter which is already there, but the auditor wants you to emphasize, and other matter is something extra that the auditor wants the shareholders to know. It is important to note that these do not impact the wording of the audit opinion and do not constitute either a qualified adverse or disclaimer of opinion. So it is important to know that these do not impact the wording of the opinion, does not constitute either a qualified adverse or disclaimer of opinion. This is just the additional communications. These are just the additional communications that the auditor wants you to know. Okay, so the independent auditor's report. and what are the contents of the independent auditor's report will be done in the next lecture, that is tomorrow. And after this, we're going to start solving the questions on the same. Okay? So till then, please read through this and ask me if any doubts. I'll quickly check the comments. Okay, so if you all have any comments, please make sure that you put it in the chat box. And that's it for today's lecture. I hope you guys enjoyed the lecture. This was just an introduction of how to use the study hub, how to practice online, which is very important now since your exams are proceeding, and a little bit of revision here and there. Tomorrow we're going to solve section B questions, so please be there. Please be live. Not tomorrow, on Monday. Sorry, not tomorrow, on Monday. Okay, so please be there live if you all can. If not, watch the recording.